Why do critics hate the best sci-fi movies of the 1980s? Here's a controversial take. Most top 10 lists worship the same 5 films. Blade Runner, The Terminator, Aliens. Boring. You have seen them 100 times. The real gold hides in the trash heap. The weird flops, the ambitious failures, the movies Roger Corman built with spare change and pure attitude. Today, we ignore the obvious classics. These 20 forgotten gems deserve your time right now. Number 20, Android, 1982. Imagine a mad scientist on a lonely space station. He builds androids for company. But one android dreams bigger. Max wants to see Earth. He wants to meet a real woman. This low-budget miracle stars Klaus Kinski at his creepiest. Yet the heart belongs to Don Keith Opper as Max. He plays innocence without being annoying. The plot kicks in when criminals board the station. Violence erupts, secrets come out. But Android cares more about loneliness than laser fights. It feels like a stage play inside a rusty tin can floating through nowhere. Most people confuse it with Blade Runner ripoffs. Wrong. This movie has genuine warmth and a shocking ending. The special effects are cheap, the sets are cardboard, the emotions are real. If you love quiet, character-driven sci-fi, you need Max in your life. Number 19, Timerider, The Adventure of Lyle Swan, 1982. A dirt bike racer accidentally time travels to the Wild West. That is not a joke. That is the entire plot. Fred Ward plays Lyle, a cocky motorcyclist who zooms past a top-secret time machine test and lands in 1877. Now he must outrun bandits on horseback with only his bike and his wits. This movie should fail hard. It does not. The script plays the premise completely straight. No winking at the camera, no ironic jokes. Ward sells every second of confusion and bravery. Belinda Bauer co-stars as a beautiful rancher's daughter. The bad guys are genuinely threatening. The bike stunts are thrilling. And the fish-out-of-water humor comes from situations, not punchlines. Timerider disappeared after a weak theatrical run, but it predicted every time travel adventure show that came after. It is fast, fun, and shockingly smart. Watch it with a cold beer and no expectations. Number 18, Brainstorm, 1983. What if you could record your own death? That is the terrifying question at the center of this forgotten masterpiece. Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood play scientists who invent a device that captures human senses. You can relive someone else's joy, someone else's fear, someone else's final heartbeat. The production was cursed. Natalie Wood died during filming. The studio nearly shelved the whole project. But director Douglas Trumbull, the visual effects genius behind 2001, fought to finish his vision. The result is a psychedelic nightmare of pure experience. The Brainstorm sequences use wild color shifts and disorienting angles. You feel like you are inside someone else's head. Then the final act goes somewhere no studio expected. Walken watches a recording of a dying man's afterlife. What does he see? The movie refuses to explain. That courage makes Brainstorm essential viewing. It is not a comfortable film, it is a challenge. Most audiences ran away. You should run toward it. Number 17, The Lathe of Heaven, 1980. A PBS television movie outshines almost every Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster. That sounds insane. Watch it. Bruce Davison plays George Orr, a man whose dreams rewrite reality. Every nightmare becomes true. He tries to stop dreaming. He fails. A power-hungry psychiatrist named Dr. Haber discovers this gift and decides to use it. Haber forces George to dream a better world, cleaner air, no war, no racism. But each fix creates a new horror. The movie asks a brutal question. Who decides what a perfect world looks like? Made on a shoestring budget with fuzzy 1980s TV visuals, The Lathe of Heaven still feels more intelligent than anything streaming today. The acting is raw. The dream sequences are low-tech but hypnotic. Ursula K. Le Guin wrote the source novel. She called this adaptation the only faithful one ever made. That endorsement alone should send you searching for this hidden treasure right now. Number 16, Looker, 1981. Michael Crichton predicted influencer culture in 1981. Nobody listened. Albert Finney plays a plastic surgeon to the stars. His beautiful clients start dying. apparently suicides, but the numbers don't add up. The trail leads to a sinister corporation using computer-generated models and subliminal messages to control consumer behavior. Sound familiar? Looker invented the uncanny valley CGI human years before anyone else. The digital actress sequences look primitive now, but the ideas are terrifying. A world where advertising literally rewires your brain, where your own image can be stolen and weaponized. James Coburn plays the smug villain with perfect disgust. Susan Day is the last surviving model fighting for her life. The movie flopped because audiences found the tone too cold, too clinical. That is exactly the point. Crichton made a horror movie about marketing. The scariest part? He was right about everything. Revisit Looker with fresh eyes and prepare to get angry. Number 15. Outland, 1981. High noon on Jupiter's moon Io. That description sells this movie short. Sean Connery plays a federal marshal stationed at a mining colony. Workers start dying of mysterious hallucinations. The official story says accidents. The truth involves illegal drugs that boost productivity but destroy minds. Connery investigates alone. The corrupt corporation sends assassins. The assassins have a 3-day travel time. So our hero waits. He cleans his shotgun. He walks the empty corridors. He knows he will probably die. Outland understands something most space operas forget. Living in space would be boring and miserable. The colony looks like a dirty refinery. The food is bad. The air smells like recycled farts. Francis Sternhagen steals every scene as a cynical doctor. The zero-gravity gunfight at the end is brutal and realistic. No fancy flips, just desperate men trying to kill each other before running out of oxygen. This movie deserves to stand beside Alien as a masterpiece of working-class space horror. Number 14. Turkey Shoot, 1982. Australia made the meanest dystopian movie of the 1980s. Turkey Shoot takes place in a re-education camp for society's deviants. The rich elite hunt prisoners for sport. Live television broadcasts every kill. Steve Railsback plays a freedom fighter caught in the game. Olivia Hussey is the innocent thrown into the nightmare. The bad guys are cartoonishly evil. The violence is gratuitous. The politics are barely coherent. And somehow it all works. This film has no moral high ground. It wants to offend you. It wants to gross you out. The title alone warns you about the tone. Prisoners are literally called turkeys. The hunting sequences feel like snuff films, but underneath the sleaze lives a genuine rage against authoritarian cruelty. The final escape sequence is non-stop adrenaline. Brian Trenchard Smith directs with punk rock energy. You will either turn it off in disgust or cheer every bloody explosion. There is no middle ground. That uncompromising attitude makes Turkey Shoot a true outlaw classic. Number 13. Liquid Sky, 1982. A tiny UFO lands on a Manhattan rooftop. The aliens feed on endorphins released during orgasm. Their victims die with smiles on their faces. That is the setup for the strangest sci-fi film ever shot in New York. Anne Carlisle plays a gender-fluid fashion model named Margaret. She also plays Jimmy, a male heroin dealer. Yes, same actor, 2 roles. The movie has no real plot. It floats through a neon-lit nightmare of junkies, drag queens, and violent sexual encounters. The synth soundtrack is legendary. The dialogue is pure punk poetry. Most audiences hate Liquid Sky. They call it pretentious garbage. They are wrong. This movie captures a specific moment in early 80s downtown culture that no documentary could ever replicate. It is ugly. It is beautiful. It is deeply uncomfortable. The alien subplot is just an excuse to watch broken people destroy each other for attention. If you want a clean, heroic story, go watch Star Wars. If you want art that bleeds, Liquid Sky is waiting. Number 12. The Deadly Spawn, 1983. Kids fight alien monsters in a New Jersey basement. That simple premise becomes a gore-drenched love letter to 1950s creature features. Four teenagers and a brave little boy named Charles battle a family of toothy alien spawn. The monsters look fantastic. Real animatronics, real slime, real teeth. The budget was laughable. The passion was unstoppable. Director Douglas McKeown shot this movie on weekends with friends and family. The result feels like a nightmare you had after watching too many late-night horror hosts. What makes The Deadly Spawn special is its sincerity. No irony, no meta-jokes. The kids react with genuine terror. The adults are useless. The Alien Queen is a masterpiece of low-budget design. This film never got a fair release. It played drive-ins and vanished. But the cult grew slowly. Now fans celebrate its handmade charm. If you miss the days when sci-fi felt dangerous and dirty, The Deadly Spawn will feel like coming home. Just don't eat spaghetti while watching. Number 11. Xtro, 1982. The most disturbing British sci-fi film you have never seen. A man is abducted by aliens. 3 years later, he returns. But he returns through the body of his ex-wife. She gives birth to a fully grown man. That scene alone traumatized an entire generation of video store renters. Philip Sayer plays the returned father Sam. He looks human, he acts human, but something is very wrong. His young son Tony accepts him immediately. Too immediately. Then the horror escalates. A killer clown appears out of nowhere. A toy soldier comes to life and murders a babysitter. Sam needs human fluids to survive. Xtro is not a coherent movie. It is a fever dream stitched together from childhood fears and sci-fi tropes. The special effects are shockingly good for the budget. The atmosphere is suffocating. Director Harry Bromley Davenport made only one rule: no scene can be predictable. He succeeded. Every 5 minutes, Xtro becomes a different kind of nightmare. Watch it alone, late at night, with the lights off. Then try to sleep. You will fail.
Number 10, Endangered Species, 1982. Most people forget that Alan Rudolph directed a sci-fi thriller. Here it is. Robert Urich plays a burned-out NYPD cop who moves to rural Colorado. Quiet life, fresh air, then cows start dying, mutilated, drained of blood, no animal predators, no human tracks. The local sheriff JoBeth Williams thinks it is cultists. UFO believers think it is aliens. Urich thinks it is a conspiracy. They are all right and all wrong. Endangered Species moves like a paranoid thriller from the 1970s. Slow, careful, unwilling to explain itself. The mutilation scenes are clinical and horrifying. The government agents who show up are too friendly, too organized. The final reveal is not aliens. It is not Satanists. It is military testing gone wrong, radiation experiments, dead livestock, covered-up crimes. This film predicted the atomic veteran cover-ups and the dark side of weapons research years before the news broke. It flopped because audiences wanted monsters. They got bureaucracy. But that bureaucratic evil is the real monster. Watch Endangered Species as a double feature with the X-Files pilot. You will see where Chris Carter stole his best ideas. Number 9, Saturn III, 1980. Let me defend an undeniable disaster. Saturn III is a beautiful mess. Farrah Fawcett and Kirk Douglas play lovers living on a remote research station near Saturn. They grow food, they enjoy sex, they have no problems. Then a shuttle arrives. Harvey Keitel plays a terrifying technocrat named Benson. But Benson brings a robot, Hector, an 8-foot-tall killing machine with a glowing red eye and a voice like grinding metal. The robot was designed by an uncredited young genius named John Barry. Hector is one of the most menacing screen robots ever built. The problem is the movie around him. The script was rewritten daily. The director Stanley Donen clashed with everyone. Keitel hated his performance so much he dubbed his own voice later. But the visual design saves everything. The space station looks like a cathedral of pipes and glass. The cinematography is gorgeous. Farrah Fawcett gives a surprisingly vulnerable performance. And Hector's slow, relentless pursuit is genuinely terrifying. The final fight between Douglas and the robot is clumsy, hilarious, and thrilling all at once. Saturn III fails as a coherent story. It succeeds as a feverish artifact of studio interference and unhinged ambition. You will not remember the plot holes. You will remember Hector's red eye glowing in the dark. That image alone earns this movie a spot on our list. Number 8, Battle Beyond the Stars, 1980. Roger Corman wanted a space opera. He had no money. He had no time. He had John Sayles writing the script and James Cameron building the models. The result is pure scrappy joy. A farm boy named Shad recruits a band of mercenaries to save his planet from a tyrant named Sador. The plot is 7 samurai in space. The execution is cheap, brilliant, and endlessly rewatchable. George Peppard plays a cowboy mercenary. Robert Vaughn plays a literal copy of his Magnificent Seven character. The alien designs are wild: a creature made of cactus, a woman with 4 breasts, a telekinetic ninja. The spaceship models are reused from Battle of the Worlds, but Cameron painted them beautifully. The soundtrack is a rip-off of Star Wars, but who cares? What makes Battle Beyond the Stars special is its heart. Shad is not a perfect hero. He is a kid who keeps getting knocked down. The mercenaries are losers and outcasts. Their sacrifice matters. When the old man pilot crashes his ship into the enemy base, you feel it. This movie taught James Cameron how to make Aliens and the Terminator. You can see the DNA everywhere, the scrappy underdog energy, the blue-collar heroes, the practical effects pushed to their limit. Do not watch this expecting Star Wars polish. Watch it for the soul that only low-budget passion can create. Number 7, Death Watch, 1980. Long before reality TV turned suffering into entertainment, Death Watch showed us the logical endpoint. Romy Schneider plays Catherine Mortenhoe, a woman diagnosed with a terminal illness. In this near-future world, dying is rare, so Catherine becomes famous. A television show called Death Watch buys exclusive rights to her final days. Harvey Keitel plays Roddy, a man with hidden cameras surgically implanted in his brain. He records everything. He cannot stop recording. The network wants tears. They want breakdowns. They want Catherine to die beautifully on camera. But Catherine refuses to perform. The movie becomes a quiet war between authenticity and exploitation. Roddy falls in love with his subject. He cannot turn off his cameras. He cannot stop exploiting her. This French-British co-production is slow and uncomfortable. The colors are washed out. The future looks like a slightly dirtier version of 1970s Glasgow. No flying cars, no laser guns, just hidden microphones and public grief consumed as entertainment. Director Bertrand Tavernier made no compromises. Death Watch is not fun, it is prophetic. Every time you watch a true crime documentary or a live-streamed tragedy, you are participating in Catherine's nightmare. The film's final shot will haunt you for days. Seek out the uncut version. The American edit ruins the pacing. This is patient, punishing, brilliant science fiction for adults.
Number 6, 1990. The Bronx Warriors, 1982. Italian post-apocalyptic cinema reached its ridiculous peak here. The year is 1990. A corporate government controls Manhattan. The Bronx has been abandoned to gangs. Colorful, murderous, creative gangs. Enzo G. Castellari directed this Warriors clone with total commitment. Mark Gregory plays Trash, a muscular hero with a bandolier and no shirt. Fred Williamson plays the Hammer, a vigilante with a shotgun and a cape. Vic Morrow plays the evil corporate executive who wants to destroy the Bronx. The plot is simple. A wealthy heiress escapes to the Bronx. Trash must protect her from rival gangs and corporate assassins. The dialogue is dubbed badly. The acting is stiff. The action scenes are staged like professional wrestling matches. None of that matters. What matters is the atmosphere. The Bronx looks like a scrap metal nightmare, filled with roller skating punks and leather-clad psychopaths. One gang is called the Zombies. Another gang rides horses through subway tunnels. The final battle involves a bulldozer and a flamethrower. This movie should be unwatchable. It is endlessly watchable. The energy never drops. The soundtrack by Walter Rizzati is pure synth genius. And the sequel, Escape from the Bronx, is somehow even crazier. Watch both back to back. You will not remember a single character name. You will remember the pure, anarchic joy of Italians pretending New York collapsed into a heavy metal album cover. That is enough. Number 5. Forbidden World, 1982. Roger Corman saw Alien and said, "We can make that for $50,000. The result is Forbidden World, a delirious, messy, gory masterpiece of low-budget desperation. A Federation Marshal arrives at a remote research lab. Scientists have created a genetic experiment called Subject 20. It is a shape-shifting murder monster with a taste for human flesh. The creature grows fast. It kills faster. The small cast is trapped. They must fight or die. What makes Forbidden World special is its absolute lack of shame. The monster looks like a mutant slug crossed with a vagina dentata. The gore is gloriously excessive. The script includes a totally unnecessary sex scene between the marshal and a lab technician. The dialogue is quotably bad. You hear that, Mike? We're expendable. But the direction by Alan Holtzman is surprisingly stylish. He uses weird angles and color filters. He cuts on action like a music video. The budget is invisible because the ambition is so high. And the creature effects by Robert Short and James Cummins are genuinely impressive. Subject 20 evolves every time it appears. New teeth, new limbs, new ways to kill. The ending is abrupt and nonsensical. You will not care. Forbidden World knows exactly what it is. A monster movie with no pretensions. It delivers gore. It delivers weirdness. It delivers a final monster that looks like a pile of used condoms with a mouth. That is art. Number 4. Brainwaves, 1982. 235 words. Uli Lommel directed this forgotten gem about medical memory theft. A woman named Kaylee lies in a coma after a car accident. Doctors try an experimental treatment. They implant the neural patterns of a murder victim into her brain. Kaylee wakes up. She seems fine. Then the nightmares start. She relives the last day of the dead woman's life. She sees the murder. She feels the fear. She knows the killer's face. Her husband does not believe her. The police do not care. Kaylee must solve a homicide that happened inside her own skull. Brainwaves is slow and dreamy. The coma sequences use soft focus and foggy lighting. Keir Dullea from 2001: A Space Odyssey plays a creepy doctor with unclear motives. Vera Miles adds gravitas as a concerned friend. The killer's identity is obvious early, but the film does not care about mystery. It cares about violation. Imagine waking up with someone else's trauma, someone else's death replaying every night. That is horror without monsters. The budget is low. The pacing is leisurely. The final confrontation is underwhelming. Yet Brainwaves sticks with you because the premise is so invasive. Lommel made a dozen terrible horror movies. This one accidentally works. It asks a question no other sci-fi film dares to ask. If your memories are implanted, are you still you? Watch it late at night when you want to feel uncomfortable. Number 3. Hangar 18, 1980. Before The X-Files, before Independence Day, before every UFO conspiracy movie, Hangar 18 told the truth. Well, it told a fictional version of the truth. Darren McGavin plays a NASA official whose satellite collides with a UFO. The alien craft crashes in Arizona. The government immediately covers it up. Bodies are moved. Evidence is destroyed. Witnesses are silenced. The alien ship is hidden in Hangar 18 at a secret Air Force base. Two astronauts, Robert Vaughn and Gary Collins, accidentally discover the cover-up. Now they are hunted. Their reputations destroyed. Their lives threatened. This is a television movie with theatrical ambitions. The special effects are cheap. The acting is functional. The script is pure paranoid fantasy. But the passion is real. Director James L. Conway clearly believed every conspiracy theory about Roswell and government secrecy. He fills the runtime with what-if scenarios that feel dangerous even today. The alien body reveal is surprisingly effective. The scene where the astronauts finally see the ship is strangely emotional. Hangar 18 was released the same year Ronald Reagan was elected. Audiences wanted optimism. They got cynicism. The film bombed. But the VHS release built a cult following among UFO enthusiasts. Now it feels prescient. Every whistleblower documentary, every leaked government video, every debate about disclosure. Hangar 18 predicted the tone of those conversations. It is not a great movie. It is an important movie. A paranoid time capsule from an era when we still believed the truth was hidden one hangar away. Number 2. The Last Chase, 1981. A future where driving a car is illegal. That is the setup for this bleak Canadian road movie. Lee Majors plays Frank Hart, a former race car driver living under a totalitarian regime. Gasoline is banned. Private vehicles are crushed. The government controls every movement. Frank hides his vintage race car in a barn. He rebuilds it in secret. Then he runs. He drives across a quarantined America. The government cannot follow. They send a single fighter pilot. Burgess Meredith plays the pilot, an old man who misses flight. The chase becomes a meditation on freedom and obsolescence. The Last Chase is not an action movie. It is a sad, slow, beautiful elegy for American independence. Frank drives through ghost towns, empty highways, abandoned gas stations. The world has moved on. He refuses. The young hitchhiker who joins him represents a generation that never knew freedom. Their conversations are quiet and philosophical. The final confrontation between Frank and the pilot is not an explosion. It is two old men recognizing themselves in each other. This film vanished after a tiny theatrical run. The studio did not know how to sell it. Too slow for car chases, too sad for escapism. But the reputation grew among collectors. Lee Majors gives the best performance of his career. The cinematography is stunning. The ending will break your heart. The Last Chase is about the joy of going fast and the tragedy of a world that forgot how. Watch it alone. Do not skip the middle. Let it breathe. You will never forget the final shot. Number 1. Strange Invaders, 1983. The most unfairly forgotten movie on this entire list. Strange Invaders is a perfect love letter to 1950s invasion films. Paul Le Mat plays a professor whose ex-wife vanished from her small Illinois hometown. He goes looking for her. The town is wrong. The people are wrong. They smile too wide. They never blink. They speak in flat, monotone voices. That is because they are aliens. The real townspeople were replaced decades ago. Now the aliens maintain a perfect 1950s suburb while secretly preparing for something bigger. Nancy Allen plays a tabloid reporter who tags along for the story. Wallace Shawn plays an eccentric scientist who understands the truth. Louise Fletcher plays an alien queen with terrifying calm. The movie balances horror and humor perfectly. The alien reveal scenes are creepy. The special effects are practical and gross. The main alien form is a glowing, pulsating light that melts human skin. But the movie also has genuine laughs. A scene where aliens watch an old sci-fi movie on TV and take notes is brilliant. Director Michael Laughlin created a world that feels both nostalgic and threatening. The color palette is oversaturated like a Douglas Sirk melodrama. The soundtrack by John Addison is lush and eerie. Strange Invaders flopped because audiences did not know what to make of its tone. Too funny for horror fans, too scary for comedy fans. But time has been kind. Now it looks like a blueprint for Stranger Things. The suburban horror, the government cover-ups, the kids who see the truth. This is the hidden treasure of 1980s sci-fi. Find it. Watch it. Thank me later. Which of these underrated gems will you watch tonight? Drop your pick in the comments. And subscribe for more forgotten classics that critics got wrong.